What's up everybody, it's Kelsee Briana J here with a review, swatches, and a tutorial using the new Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. So if you guys have never heard of Melt Cosmetics, they are a more popular indie brand. They're famous on Instagram and they have their own line. They've come out with so many different products over the years. Lipsticks, eyeshadow stacks, they've come out with liquid lipsticks, lip liners, highlighters, and now they've actually come out with a palette. So I know that all their fans were super hype about this. This palette is a new concept for them. They've never come out with an eyeshadow palette before. Their website is meltcosmetics.com. For now, this is the only place where you are able to purchase items from them. So this palette retails for $62, plus you have to pay $7 shipping unless you spend over $75. The thing with this palette is that they said on the launch day that once this palette sells out, it will not be restocked. We've already determined that that was not the truth because I got this palette on a restock. Also on their website, there's a link to be notified when this palette is available, hinting that it might be another restock. So just keep your eye out if you want to grab this palette. So here's the packaging. Really cute art. It has pictures of the owners on here, just candid photos. It says Melt, and then on the back it has more. Here is the actual palette. This palette is super long and slim. Just for comparison, here is the Anastasia Dream palette. You can see how much longer this palette is and how much slimmer it is. There's 18.80 grams of product, or 0.66 ounces of product. Here is the actual packaging. It comes with a little mirror here, and then here are the eyeshadows. There are 10 eyeshadows in this palette, and I like the organization of the palette. Let me go ahead and read you guys the description on meltcosmetics.com. It says 10 bold pigmented shades in matte and metallic textures, soft warm neutrals to cool olive tones to satisfy every attitude. Change comes easy depending on your mood. Get the best of both worlds with a Gemini palette. Here's the palette, and I think that the eyeshadows in here are organized really pretty. So what most intrigues me about this palette are these green shades here. The rest of the palette is just basic neutrals. This is what's giving it the pop. This is what's giving it originality. You can pretty much do a complete look with it. The only thing that's missing from this palette is a highlight color. I used every shade in this palette with the exception of 2. I will say that the matte eyeshadows were pretty consistent. I feel like the shimmer eyeshadows were not. The shade Gemini, which is the namesake of the palette, to me that one was a little bit chunky. It's a very beautiful color once you get it applied, but you need more of a sticky base for it to adhere to. Otherwise it's going to be Fallout City. Versus the color GOALZ, which I felt was a little bit more smoothly pigmented and it didn't have as much fallout. I did get a pretty sizable amount of fallout with all of the matte shades. So like I said, a tackier base is going to be your best friend when using this palette because it needs something to adhere to. I think that these eyeshadows are nice, but in comparison to their stack eyeshadows, I don't feel like they are the same quality. Their stack eyeshadows are so smoothly pigmented. They're not as dry as these eyeshadows. Overall, I think that it's a decent palette. I don't think that it is a necessary must-have in my collection. However, I don't regret getting it, and I do see myself using it in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into swatches of all the shades, and then I will jump into the tutorial. That way you all can see me recreate this look. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, and enjoy. primed and ready to go. I'm going to first dip into the color Luna. I'm going to apply this in my crease. So I'm just going to go back and forth in my crease to blend that color out, but that's going to be our transition color. Same brush, the Wayne Goss number 18 brush. I'm going to go into this color. I don't know if it's pronounced MOCHI, MOCHI. It's like this baby puke color. I'm going to take that directly underneath that brown and put it in my crease. Ooh. Now we're getting to some interesting things. A little bit of fallout, make sure you tap off your brush. But this is going to serve as another transition color for us. Switching to a MAC 221 brush, I'm going to dip into the color Fire OG. I'm going to apply this right on the edge of MOCHI. And blend this color in. And this is going to transition us to our lid colors. So just build this color up until it looks about like this. And I have a synthetic brush here. This is a MAC 247 brush. I'm going to take just a bit of that concealer and carve it out on my lid. And I want it to be more oval, so I'm just going to apply that concealer on the lid and draw out a shape. Careful not to cover it all up, but basically this is an easy way to make a cut crease. And be careful with this. This cannot be sloppy because it will mess up your entire eye look. So once you do that, I'm going to go back with Fire OG and just slightly redefine that little crease right here and blend it up. And the reason I apply concealer is because it's going to allow that color to pop even more. You can use concealer, you can use an eye base, you can use whatever primer you use, but just try to use something to cancel out any darkness that may accumulate from the eyeshadow or from your eyelid. On my inner corner with a MAC 242 brush, I'm going to go in with Gemini. I'm just going to tap this right on the inside and slightly bring it around that curve. Start filling in this area. Now, same brush, I'm going to take the color GOALZ, and right where I left off with the color Gemini, I'm going to begin to start packing this color on right next to that color to blend it. And like I said, I want this shape to be a little bit different, so I'm going to take this green all the way up to this little curvature that I created and pack that color there. This color is not as glittery as Gemini. This one is a shimmer, but it'll blend all the same. Make sure you keep it neat. Now, wipe off your brush a little bit. I'm going to dip into the color Lorelei. I'm going to press that color right next to GOALZ and blend them together. I'm just going to build this color up again, following the shape that I created on my lid. I'm leaving a little bit of space here. And when you're blending shimmery and matte eyeshadows, you'll have to go over each one maybe like 1 or 2 times just to make sure that those colors are harmonious. So this color is pretty pigmented, but I'm just going to keep building it up until I don't see any patchiness. I'm going to go back with another brush and go back with the color GOALZ and just lightly tap it on top of that line, just so it's no line of demarcation. Now I'm going to take the flat shader brush and the color Leo. I'm going to place this color right here on that little empty space and make sure that this is blended. I definitely feel like this look needs eyeliner to balance it out. Make sure I use a little bit of mascara. For lashes, I'm going to use this pair of Mink 3D lashes. I got these from my beauty supply store. These are in the style D03. I have a Wayne Goss 08 detailer brush, very tiny, tiny, tiny brush. I'm going to lightly dip back into the color Gemini. I'm going to take that color on my inner corner here on the lower lash line and just trace it around. I'm gonna stop it about here. Without the concealer, that color is not sticking. Actually, I'm gonna go back with a little bit of concealer on the lower lash line too. So again, same step, now just on top of concealer. And then with the same brush on the rest of the lower lash line, I'm going to go in with the shade Polka Dot. Itch that on the eye. Alright, so this is the finished look. I feel like I'm living for this cut crease. It's a little bit more dramatic than what I've worn more recently. So I wanted something a little bit different. And I like the way it turned out. Overall, I like the look that I did with the palette. I think the palette is really pretty. I think the eyeshadows in this palette are a little bit drier, so you just have to be aware of that. You do need a really nice base, something for the eyeshadows to really adhere to so the colors pop. But once you get that down packed, I like the colors in this palette and I'm glad I have it. So I will talk to you guys in my very next video, which will be super soon. Smooches. Bye.